To map these three mutations, one will have to determine how frequently crossover events have happened between them. Most of the males of the F2 generation are either wild type for these three genes or possess all three mutations. These are the non-recombinants, and the numbers of these flies are simply used to calculate the total numbers of flies. The vermilion flies and the singed cross-veinless flies are similar in that it took a crossover event which separated vermilion from the other two mutations to create these phenotypes. And so therefore, if we create a chart with three types of crossover events, the number of vermilion flies, 60 in this case, will be added to each column where there was a crossover between vermilion and singed, or a crossover between vermilion and cross-veinless. The same is true of the flies which are singed and cross-veinless. There are 68 of these, and they were created when there was a crossover event between vermilion and the other two phenotypes. And so this number 68 will also be added to those columns where there is a crossover event involving vermilion. The male flies which possess the singed phenotype or which possess the vermilion cross-veinless phenotype are similar in that these flies were created in crossover events which separated the mutation singed from the other two mutations. And so therefore, the number of these flies, the 4 singed flies, and the 3 flies which are vermilion cross-veinless, these result from a crossover separating singed from the other two, and these numbers, 4 and 3, will be added to the columns where a crossover event occurs between singed and cross-veinless, and a crossover event occurs between singed and vermilion. The male flies cross-veinless and the male flies vermilion singed are similar in that to create these phenotypes, cross-veinless was separated from the other two mutations. And so therefore the number of these flies, 14 cross-veinless males and 10 vermilion singed males, these numbers will be added to the columns where cross-veinless is separated from vermilion because of a crossover event, and there's a crossover event separating cross-veinless and singed.